Margaret Nduta, a 37-year-old Kenyan national, was arrested in July 2023 at Tan Son Nhat International Airport in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Inside her luggage, authorities uncovered over 2 kilograms of cocaine, concealed meticulously to avoid detection. On March 6, 2025, the People's Court in Ho Chi Minh City sentenced her to death. Following this ruling, the Kenyan government embarked on urgent diplomatic efforts to seek clemency, resulting in a temporary stay of execution, originally set for March 17, 2025. As of March 19, 2025, negotiations were still ongoing, and her family clung to hope for a favorable outcome. But the burning question remains: did Margaret Nduta knowingly transport the drugs? Was she aware of the risk she was taking, or was she an unsuspecting pawn in a much larger operation? To answer this, we must delve into her journey leading up to that fateful day. Inside the solemn chambers of the Ho Chi Minh City People's Court, Judge Din Ngoc Thu Huang presided over Margaret Nduta's case. With 5 hours to present her defense, Nduta's words were recorded verbatim in Vietnamese by the court clerk. This transcript would later reveal contradictions in her testimony. Nduta claimed she had no knowledge of the contents of the bag she was carrying. She told the court she was desperate to find a job abroad to support her child and lift her family from economic hardship. In her search, she encountered an agent named John Njoroge, who promised her a well-paying job in Saudi Arabia. According to her, John assured her that he would cover all expenses, and she only needed to be prepared to travel. A week after their initial conversation, John contacted Nduta, informing her that her passport was ready and she would be traveling in 3 days. On the eve of her scheduled departure, he called again, instructing her to meet him at Sarit Center in Nairobi at 10 a.m. the next morning to collect her travel documents. Nduta arrived at Sarit Center a few minutes before the scheduled time. She waited, watching people come and go, nervous but excited about the opportunity ahead. 20 minutes later, John arrived, driving himself. He parked and she got into his car. They sat for nearly an hour, discussing her travel arrangements. It was during this conversation that John introduced a different proposition. He told her that before heading to Saudi Arabia, she would need to complete a small assignment. He wanted her to transport a briefcase to Laos, for which she would be paid $2,300, equivalent to 165,000 Kenyan shillings. Nduta hesitated, but the money was enticing. Her goal had never been Saudi Arabia specifically. It was financial stability. With this money, she could address immediate financial concerns. Without much thought, she agreed. As they drove towards Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, John received a call. Nduta recalled hearing him respond with short phrases. When the call ended, he pulled over and informed her that their travel plans had changed. Instead of flying from JKIA, they would now travel via Bole International Airport in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, due to unforeseen circumstances. To accommodate this change, they needed to stay in Nairobi for the night. They checked into a well-known hotel in the city, securing separate rooms. At around 2 p.m., John gave Nduta 1,000 Kenyan shillings for food and told her he had a meeting at Kenyatta Market. He reassured her that he would return later that night. At exactly 10 p.m., her phone rang. It was John. He had returned to the hotel. He told her to sleep early, as they had to wake up at dawn for their journey.
The following day, very early in the morning at 4:30 a.m., John called Margaret Nduta, telling her to wake up and prepare herself. They began the journey at 5:30 a.m. and Nduta was told that they were heading to Isiolo. Along the way, John kept on communicating with the same person he had spoken with previously. They continued their communication all the way to Isiolo. At exactly 9:45 a.m., they arrived in Isiolo town. In Isiolo town, John informed Margaret Nduta that she would now travel alone to Bole International Airport in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. John took her to Salam bus and paid 7,500 Kenyan shillings for her ticket to Addis Ababa. The bus was scheduled to depart at 2 p.m. John instructed Margaret that once she arrived at Bole International Airport, she would meet someone there who would give her a suitcase. He handed Margaret her passport, which already had a Laos visa attached, and then drove back to Nairobi. Salam bus departed from Isiolo at 2 p.m. 15 hours later, they arrived in Addis Ababa. Just 5 minutes after arrival, a mysterious person appeared, picked Margaret from the bus, and took her to Bole International Airport. There, they met another individual who was already waiting with a briefcase. He handed the briefcase to Margaret. John then called the man who was with the briefcase, and he passed the phone to Margaret. John repeated his instructions. Once she landed in Laos, she would meet someone there to deliver the briefcase. John then told Margaret to check her phone. She saw 3 M-Pesa notifications. 1 transaction of 65,000 Kenyan shillings and 2 transactions of 50,000 Kenyan shillings each, totaling 165,000 Kenyan shillings. Overwhelmed with excitement, she was thrilled to have such a large amount of money in her M-Pesa account for the first time. Upon landing at Hamad International Airport in Qatar, the bag underwent security screening, but nothing was found. However, upon arriving at Ho Chi Minh City Airport, authorities discovered that her bag had a false bottom. The scanning machine detected something unusual, and upon further inspection, they found a well-packed 2 kg of cocaine. When questioned, she insisted that was all she knew about her involvement with the bag and John. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after listening to her testimony for 5 straight hours, the court began questioning Margaret Nduta. She was asked whether she had ever traveled before, to which she responded, "No, this was my first time traveling outside Kenya." When further asked how she acquired her passport, she claimed that John had arranged everything, and within a week, her passport was ready in 2023. However, Margaret Nduta was unaware that her passport contained all her travel records. The court ordered the passport to be brought in, and when it arrived, shocking details were revealed. Contrary to her claims, records showed that Margaret Nduta acquired her passport in 2014. In January 2015, she traveled to Saudi Arabia, where she was contracted to work until January 2017. However, there was no recorded return to Kenya in 2017. The court could not determine where she had been between 2017, when her job contract expired, and April 2021, when records showed she traveled directly from Saudi Arabia to Ghana. The court concluded that Margaret Nduta had lied about never having traveled before and about how she obtained her passport. Additionally, her flight history from Saudi Arabia to Ghana raised suspicions. The prosecutor convinced the judge that Margaret Nduta's passport contained irregular travel records, which indicated she was fully aware of what she was carrying. Her passport had departure records, but consistently lacked return records from each destination. For example, there was no record of her return from Ghana to Kenya, nor any record of how she left Ghana after arriving from Saudi Arabia. These inconsistencies raised serious doubts about her credibility. The court ultimately found her guilty. Presiding judge of the People's Court, Ms. Din Ngoc Thu Huang, was convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Margaret Nduta, a 37-year-old Kenyan national, had willingly smuggled 2 kg of cocaine through the territory of Vietnam. This act was a direct violation of the laws of the state and the government of Vietnam. As a result, the court found her guilty and sentenced her to death. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have heard the whole story. But my question is, Margaret Nduta was arrested in July 2023, and the family came to break silence in 2025, when now she was sentenced to death. Why did the family keep this a secret? Was this her routine? Thank you for watching Lifelines TV. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth investigations. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.